Do you love your pups but struggle with being able to afford treats for them from your local store or from Chewy? Well, let me show you a way that you can make these chicken liver jerky treats for your pups that they will adore and how to save money doing it. Hi, I'm Darcy from the Purposeful Pantry, and I want to be your dehydrating BFF to teach you safe and practical ways to dehydrate not only for your pantry but for your furry best friend. So let's get started on how to make these chicken liver treats that are a fraction of the cost of what you get in the store. Okay, so what I'm using are natural chicken livers. Now, these are not organic. If you need to find organic, then you can find that in the store that might provide it for you. But the closest one I had, this is what was available. It was about $3.27 for 20 ounces. We'll price check that at the end about the value of doing these yourself versus buying them from the store. And we're gonna go ahead and just glove up because that's what I choose to do. You do not have to, I just would prefer it. So here's what we have. We have a lot of chicken livers that are large pieces that are, some of are even bigger than this. If you have a small dog, you might want to go ahead and just take some of these lobes apart to make smaller pieces like that. Then I'm going to set them aside on a tray. You can't see that just yet, but I'm also going through here and taking out any chunks of fat that were left because we're just choosing not to use those. Now what I am not doing is I'm not rinsing these off the way that, you know, a lot of people will rinse chicken off, which is not really recommended by safety standards because then it gets chicken juice everywhere and it's a little harder to clean up. But what I did do is just go ahead and pour them in a strainer and let them drain out because they did have quite a bit of liquid with protein in it. And so I'm just going to go through and, oh, see right here, another big piece of fat that we're going to go ahead and pull off and set aside so it doesn't get in the mix. So let me do these and then I'll show you the next. If you wanted to do these in the oven, you could certainly do it and just keep it on your parchment paper like I've got here. And what I'm going to do is just go through here and kind of flatten these out a little bit because what we're doing is making liver jerky for our pups. If you have a piece that's a little bigger in the middle, then on the end it's not going to dry as well. So we want to make sure that we spread these out a little bit and give them some space and get them a little flatter than the lobes are originally. You don't have to just smush them like crazy, but I do go ahead and break them down a little bit. If you want to then put this into a 200-degree oven, and you can do that for about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 hours. I just do it in the dehydrator. I usually expect about 6 hours, give myself that time, and they'll be done. But let me break these up. Then what I'm going to do is take each of these and put them on my dehydrator trays. I am choosing to use mesh on mine. You can place them straight onto the rack if you wish. This is not going to be something that's neat and pretty and tidy, but, and I didn't bring the solid tray on the bottom in with me. I should have, just to protect my countertop some, but it's okay. I'm going to sanitize everything when I'm done, so it really won't matter. Pieces like this, just load them on. Flatten them out so that you know that they are not mounded up in an issue. And like I said, we're using some bigger pieces and some smaller pieces. Use the size that's appropriate for your pup. Okay, so we've got fully loaded 4 trays of for my dehydrator. This is a Nesco. It typically takes 5 trays. We only had to do 4. That's what 2 tubs of the chicken livers filled with a little extra space with everything. And I got rid of about 3 ounces that didn't quite meet what I wanted to put into Shelby. So let's go get these dried. And I'm going to apologize a lot for the light. The freeze dryer takes up a lot of that. It's creating a lot of shadow. But here is our trays. We're going to go ahead and set on our lid. And we're going to turn this all the way up to 165. We want this to be, well, this is 160, close enough. We want this to be fully dry for jerky. We don't want to lower the temperature at all. All right, so here we go. This should take about anywhere from 4 to 10 hours, depending on how thick your pieces are, the kind of dehydrator you use, any kind of humidity that's in the air. I'm running this out in our garage, so with the humid days that we have right now, this may take a little longer. Judge by when it's actually dry, not by the time. All right, here we have our liver after it's dried for about 8 hours, and then it's done. So you can see what they all look like. Just like this. I don't know if you can hear Shelby in the background panting. She smells them. She's had a treat or two, so we've been giving her a couple, and she is like still hyper, like I want more, I want more. Okay, so these are our liver treats. Yes, we dry them to beef jerky hard because that's how we prefer it. They store better that way. She still loves chewing on them, so this is what they look like. See that cool funky pattern on the back? I just love that. So here we go. Now I do these in the garage because I don't like the way they smell when they're drying out inside the house, but you can do these outside. I choose not to do them outside because I don't want to attract any other animals because of the meat. Now, if you find that your pup does not like having these so chewy, they're hard for them to chew, even smaller pieces they're hard, you can leave these setting out for a little bit to absorb some of the ambient moisture that's in your air, and they will soften up some. Like right now, you can see they're really crispy and won't break easily, but you can soften them up some. You can also dry them a little less, not quite so hard, but just remember they will need to be stored in the freezer. So let's talk about storage. Okay, to store these, you can do it in any kind of airtight container that you have, whether you want to do it in a Mylar bag. With O2 absorbers, I would worry about because they're not cured, they're not going to store forever, so you'd still need to store them in the freezer. What we do, we have a bag here. These are silicone freezer bags, or silicone storage bags that are airtight. I do a batch up for my dad, and then I do a batch up for the freezer. So that way he can give a treat anytime he wants to Shelby. We do enough to make sure that he has enough for a couple of weeks. They'll last for about 2 weeks this way. Your mileage will vary. You don't want to keep them forever on the shelf because they aren't cured like I mentioned. And then what we do is just take the rest of them and put them in the freezer. Let me just roll. This is a way that I do this to help ease it up. I just roll them around and they will come off a little bit better. And you can flip this once during your drying process to help pull these off a little easier. That's also up to you. So I'll keep about, I don't know how long this is going to last for him. We go through the chicken treats pretty quickly. So I'll put about maybe a week's worth in here, and he can feed her little treats all through the day whenever he wants to. Chicken livers, just like any kind of organ meat, are really great for dogs because of all the vitamins and nutrients in them. But I am not a vet. You need to check with your vet about your particular diet for your dog. So this is airtight, so it can sit in his desk and ready to feed Shelby whenever he wants. And then I'll get one loaded up for the freezer. And because we're not going to waste this, because I have a clean counter, I can do this. This I'm going to gather up and put onto her food for the day, and she'll be able to clean this up with no problem whatsoever. Now, I don't have video of Shelby. She's not feeling her best this week, and she really wasn't responding to me trying to video her and send her treats so you could see, but I've got this photo right here where you can see she loved these things. The thing is that these can be really about half the cost of what I could find online of something equivalent. Now, I had a hard time finding just regular chicken liver jerky, so I was just browsing around all the different brands of things that were out there that were real meat treats, and some of them are freeze-dried, some of them are like maybe beef or lamb or actual muscle meat. But what I found was that the price of creating this chicken liver jerky for 2 tubs worth was about $6.50, then about another 75 cents for the amount of electricity it took to run the dehydrator to dry these. So it came out to what, maybe $8.25 for 17 ounces worth of chicken liver. What I found online ranged from anywhere from $7 to $15 to $20 for 4 ounces of meat treats for your dog. So this is a lot less expensive to do. Granted, it can be a little stinky depending on your particular sensitivities, so that's why I dehydrate in the garage and not inside the house. I also don't do it outside because what I don't want to do is attract any kind of animals that might come looking for meat. I never have an issue with anything coming after my onions or garlic or peppers when I dry them outside, but meat was a little different, so I put them in the garage. And this will last us probably about maybe a month, depending on how gracious Dad is with giving Shelby treats all the time. So this is a really great way for you to create treats for your pup that are healthy and much better than what you can usually buy at the store for a lot less. So if you want to see other treats that you can make for your pup, watch this video right here where I walk you through how to do sweet potato and chicken treats for your dogs. And until I see you again next time, remember, nevertheless, she preserved. Happy dehydrating, and I'll see you again next time.